Hello world and welcome back to the Razor RC, and we're done. We finally built the Schumacher Cougar LD2. Picked this up a few weeks ago and took me a little while to put this together. Just been kind of busy with other projects and stuff, but finally have it all assembled. Wanted to talk about how the build went as well as some little tips and tricks, and yeah, kind of go over the brand new two-wheel drive race buggy from Schumacher. So I picked mine up from Discount RC Store. DiscountRCstore.com. Pretty much the best place to pick these up in the US. They carry pretty much all the Schumacher parts. Free shipping, $50 or more, and it comes to you pretty quick. I'm out in California and they ship it from Michigan and gets to me in like 2 days. So excellent group of people. Best online store in my opinion. Definitely worth checking them out. So I'll kind of go through my actual vehicle. Kind of switched up the paint scheme a little bit here, kind of just going blue and white. I don't know, decided to try something a little different, something that was a little bit closer to the sort of the kit paint job that they've got with the Schumacher LD2. My vehicle itself, so I'm running the Gen Z 6000 milliamp hour Redline battery, full size battery. So this buggy is super lightweight. This is the stock spec version with the carbon fiber chassis, so it is crazy lightweight. Even with the full size battery, it's still underweight. I think I'm about 13, 14, 15 grams or so, so definitely need to add a little bit more weight. In terms of the actual parts I'm running, Savox SC1267 SG servo, Hobby Wing XR10 Pro stock spec ESC. I've got the Sanwa ARX 481 receiver, and then Team Power's V4 17.5 turn actinium motor. Pretty fast motor as well. Gearing wise, I'm using the stock spur gear, whatever that is. Trying out like a 28 tooth pinion gear here. It's a TLR piece. Not exactly sure what I will do finally for gearing. We'll have to mess around with that. Also running the optional brass ESC tray up there. The aluminum servo horn. I think it's made by Core RC or Aero X. I can't really remember. And then I'm also running the aluminum camber plate back here. And I think that's pretty much it in terms of option parts. I did throw on the Mikhail Orlowski June 2021 carpet setup. So there's a lot of other option parts he's running, like a front wing, aluminum track rods, just a lot of aluminum parts, including the aluminum chassis. So I will probably eventually try the aluminum chassis because this thing is way too light. I need to add probably another 30 grams or so. I think raw weight minimum is now 1450 or 1449 or something like that. So still underweight. Definitely need to add some more weight somewhere. And I did like the aluminum chassis a little bit better on carpet on my Cougar laydown. So this is the LD2, basically an update to the regular Cougar laydown. They pretty much squished up the entire front end, including the chassis. They got like sort of an extensible chassis now. That's really the biggest change. The rear end is pretty much the same. Did modify the dog bones a little bit. Did modify the hub carriers a little bit, so they are running larger bearings on the outside. I'm actually running Witz bearings throughout, so I just ran the regular Cougar laydown ceramic bearings from Witz, and that works totally fine. There are just going to be those two bearings that are still going to be stock, but other than that, everything fits as well. So in terms of the actual build, first off, I wanted to give a big shout out to Schumacher. They made a huge improvement in this manual. In my opinion, Schumacher manuals in the past have not been particularly good. They're okay, but they really cleaned the whole thing up. High quality paper. Just feels like they made it super easy to put together. They even have little measurements and pictures of all the actual parts that you can match up one-to-one. A lot of little race tips and stuff like that. So yeah, this thing is super nice. Even has a little full color blow up of all the different parts, option parts that you can use, and then as well as adjustments. They got a little section here in the back tell you what all the adjustments do. So super nice. Really one of the best manuals on the market today. Even talk about tire selection and stuff. So spare parts list, option parts, all that good stuff. So yeah, this manual is fantastic. In the past, I would have said Schumacher manuals were below average, kind of below par compared to other kits out there, but nowadays, yeah, I'd say this is one of the best manuals out there. Certainly up there with all the other high quality manuals. So big shout out to Schumacher for doing that. Big improvement there. Build itself went together pretty well. No missing parts, nothing damaged. I did have problems in the past with their Schumacher kits where like turnbuckles were bent or something like that, but no issues here. Everything was totally fine. I did end up filing down a few parts here and there, like on the caster blocks and stuff, just to get things to fit a little more freely, but nothing you really need to do. It will go together pretty well out of the box. Some things to watch out for. First off, definitely the hinge pins in the front. These arms are reversible. I did flip them to get a shorter wheelbase. I'm just going to try that out as per the setup sheet, but normally, yeah, you got these hinge pins. They only go in one way, so they kind of have like a flat spot on the bottom to let you tighten down the set screw. So yeah, make sure you put those in correctly so that that flat spot is on the side of the set screw. Otherwise, you'll find that it doesn't really fit in very well. Also, when tightening down that set screw, definitely be careful. It's super easy to over tighten that and strip the arm, so that'd be really annoying if you did that. The front end otherwise went together pretty well. I do like the integrated shock cover here up top. These shocks, again, not a big fan of these shocks. You do have to drill holes for these bleeder screws if you want to bleed them, and then I just end up marking it with like a silver paint pen just so I know which side, because it does have two holes, so you can drill out either side, and you obviously want it to match. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of these shocks. They just use weird springs. I don't like these little shock cups here on the bottom. Springs tend to want to pop off. The springs are weird. They're like tapered. It's got the two-piece caps. There's a lot of things I don't like, but they do work reasonably well. Still use regular red O-rings, no X-rings. Still have molded pistons. So again, not the super nicest shocks out there, but they do seem to work, so I will grant them that. Other things you want to watch out for: the servo. Make sure you don't use a really tall servo. There's barely enough clearance here in the front for your servo horn. I'm running the aluminum servo horn, but there's pretty much like no extra room at all. It's pretty much barely clears at all. You will want to line it up kind of at that 5 o'clock position of the servo horn when you mount that up. But yeah, other than that, that did work. It's just really, really close. They even tell you to mount the servo kind of up high, give you a little more clearance. So yeah, there's barely any room. I mean, Schumacher really tries to throw everything as far forward as possible. So that steering rack is really tight. Servo is kind of mounted at an angle to give you a little extra room. Allows you to move all the electronics, the battery, everything way up front. Obviously, Schumachers are primarily targeted at like AstroTurf, carpet, artificial surfaces, high traction surfaces, that kind of thing. So they are optimized for that, but yeah, it does leave you barely enough room to do anything up in the front. So yeah, other than that, I don't think there were any real issues. Diff, not a big fan of the diff. I'm running the 2-gear, so I just pulled out 2 of the gears inside the differential. It just uses a regular O-ring, no paper gasket or anything like that. Not the biggest fan of that, but it works, I guess. These drive shafts are a little bit different, so they're phased a little bit differently. So you can see what they got. They got the dog bone like at one angle, and then the drive pin at the other. So before they used to kind of be in line, but now they're like phased 90 degree apart. Should give you a little more freer rear end. Maybe not quite as much forward traction, but should corner a little bit quicker and steer a little bit better. I think that's pretty much it in terms of the build. Went together pretty nice. Certainly actually one of the best Schumacher builds I've put together. They're not hard, just got some little weird quirks. They still use like 2-piece ball studs like here on the side. Not a big fan of that. They still use like ball cups on the bottom shocks. I don't know for lighter weight or what, but it's a little bit odd, a little bit of a quirky vehicle, but yeah, went together pretty well. So no real complaints. The spur gear is super nice, probably the nicest machine spur gear. Overall parts quality is really, really high. The metals are really nice. These sort of like bronze finished steel parts are amazing. Turnbuckles are fine. The plastics seem pretty good overall. No real complaints about the plastics. Not the best quality plastics, not the worst, somewhere in the middle. So anyways, that's it. My thoughts on the Cougar LD2. If you have any questions or suggestions or tips or tricks or anything like that, throw down a comment in the description below. I'm going to take this out to the track, run it around, see how it performs, probably make some few tuning adjustments, that kind of thing. And we'll see how this goes. So anyways, definitely hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. Look for more videos soon. And thanks for watching.